So I just cut up some orange pepper and then some yellow pepper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seeds. I don't know if they'll grow, but I'm going to try to use the same bag, Ziplock bag method that I started with the others, and see how fast they sprout or if they even sprout. So peat moss and perlite in bulk if you're going to do a lot of them, and you can get that at Lowe's or any kind of big box store. Get regular whatever kind of potting mix. Sometimes I do like to mend with perlite. If you're going to get regular potting mix, you want to make sure it's just not too soggy. And then I haven't cut any kind of holes in them. I just labeled it and haven't done anything yet. And you can see that I only put it about maybe that much. And then this one, same thing. This one I put a little bit more. Probably, I feel like that's a little bit better as far as how much you should put in it. So honestly, that's about a little over, maybe like a fourth of the bag. I got the dirt in there. Haven't cut any holes in the bottom yet. I've got my pepper. And now I'm going to just scoop that dirt back in the center kind of area. Pepper. It's like, I always say green peppers. Do you use bell pepper? It's bell peppers, but I always say green pepper. Even when they're yellow peppers, I'll say green pepper yellow. It's weird. And now I'm going to sprinkle it on that area, and there's quite a few in there. So after I sprinkled, I'll show you how it's just kind of sprinkled in there like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just brush. I'm going to brush over that dirt on the top, and then that one's done. And then the same thing for this one here. Oops. The same thing for this orange one here. I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to do the scooping, like the seeds off the top. Now, I suppose you could let them dry on their own, but I'm not going to do that. The one thing I would recommend, though, is when you get ready to transplant, you just want to make sure that you're kind of lowering the humidity. So in other words, you're you're opening up the bag more, you're kind of folding it back. Because when you put it outside, even though it may be really humid, you got to remember that that was in such a high humid condition that a lot of times you can lose them really quickly. And so there's other ways outside too. So I've got my seeds there for the orange one, and I'm just going to sprinkle them in that little, so I'll show you guys again. Sprinkled them on there, and then all I'm going to do is just kind of like put some dirt over that. And that's it. So it's covered. The next thing that I did is I basically just took a little bit of water, and I like to kind of almost like swing the bag like that when it's just barely running. So sorry, I've got a dirty sink here, but like I barely put the water on, maybe that much, and then I'll put the bag in there and I'll just kind of swing it back and forth just so that it's getting all areas. And so now it's got water in there, but what I do after that is I'm going to cut slits, vertical slits, probably about 4 in the bottom of that so it can drain properly. Like you can start in the middle, that might make it a little easier, and I just make little snips. Probably I'll do about, you don't want too many, then I'll just start in the middle because it's just easier. And just 1, 2, doesn't matter really how far out, you don't need to do huge. So I did how many there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I did 6 holes on that one. That's probably a little more than I need to do, but they're little slits basically so it can drain okay out of there. If they're too big or too many, you'll lose dirt, but I always put them under a grow light. To do that, actually be maybe more beneficial if you have them even on a deck. You just have to remember that if you're going to have it somewhere where it's really warm, you may need to check on them a little bit more. I would definitely check on them the first couple days. Usually you don't have to water them very much at all. You don't have to keep it closed. Like I don't close mine all the way. In fact, I prefer to have it open just because of the fact I feel like it gets molded in there if you do have it closed completely.